OU and OSU's media days are in the books, and both teams have football scrimmages this week. Hello, I'm Mike Kaler. Welcome to the latest edition of the Bedlam Nation Conversation presented by Dodge. Joining me today to talk about all things OU and OSU football are OU beat writer Jake Trotter and OSU beat writer Scott Wright. The clock is ticking with only 3 weeks to go before the season. Jake, let's start with you. It looks like returning quarterback Sam Bradford got bigger and stronger in the offseason. With so much talent around him, can he duplicate what he did last year, which was one of the best freshman quarterback seasons ever?
Well, I think he can duplicate. I think it's going to be hard. I'm talking about statistically. I mean, 36 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, leading the nation in passing efficiency. I think at one point he had 18 straight, 22 straight completions. So can he put up those kind of numbers again? Yes, I think it's unlikely, but he could have a better season. He could lower his interceptions, and I think he could play better on the road and make some more plays out of the pocket, and they could have a more productive year for him without having better numbers.
What does he bring to the table for them this year as opposed to last year when he was just kind of learning the job?
Well, he brings some leadership to the huddle, or the no huddle in the case of OU. Those guys are starting to look up to him. I think last year he was just trying to get their respect, and I think that makes a big difference going into the season, having a proven commodity at quarterback.
What do you think he's worked on in the offseason then?
Well, I think he's watched a lot of film. I think that's been one of his biggest deals is getting in the film room, seeing what he could do better, where to throw the ball in this situation, where to not throw the ball in that situation. I think he's gotten obviously bigger. He's put on about 15 pounds of muscle in the offseason, where that should probably help him stand in the pocket and deliver a throw and get hit, and maybe he's a little bit faster too. So he's going to be a better specimen this year, and I think that the film work's really going to pay off for him, especially when they get on the road, and he's going to have to make some plays.
Okay, thanks, Jake. We'll be right back with the Bedlam Nation conversation, but first, a quick word from Dodge. And we're back with the Bedlam Nation conversation presented by Dodge. On the OSU side of the ball, the Cowboys will open up their scrimmage Saturday to the public, giving fans a chance to see some new faces. Scott Wright, one of the biggest changes for OSU this year is a group of junior college players they brought in. Which of those guys do you expect to make the most impact?
Well, interestingly enough, there's about 7 of them that have a chance to be on the 2 deep, maybe even start. Bo Johnson at running back is a guy that's definitely going to get a lot of attention, especially now with Keith Toston being hurt. He's going to get even more carries. He was already running as the kind of the number 2 guy behind Kendall Hunter. And now if Toston isn't able to stay healthy, his role becomes even more prominent. Defensively is where you're going to see a lot of guys. Swanson Miller is a huge defensive tackle, 6'4", 300-pound guy that's really going to be able to make an impact, especially plugging up the middle and helping to stop the run. Donald Booker is a guy that there's been a lot of talk about as middle linebacker. We'll see if he can break into the starting lineup there or not, but he's definitely got a chance. There's really just about all of the guys that they brought in. Out of the 9 guys they brought in, probably 7 of them have a chance to contribute.
Does this show just kind of the emphasis they're putting on fixing the defense and fixing it as fast as they can to be more competitive in the league, I guess?
That's a part of it because really in this league you can't have real success without playing some good defense. So because there's so many good offenses, you've got to try to nullify that as much as possible. It was also a situation where they didn't have a lot of depth on the defensive side of the ball. They needed as much depth and experience as they could get, and this was the best route for them to go. And fortunately for them, it looks like they're going to have a pretty good batting average on this crop of JUCOs they brought in.
All right, thanks, Scott. We'll be right back with the Bedlam Nation conversation again, but first, a quick word from Dodge. And we're back with the Bedlam Nation conversation presented by Dodge. This is the point-counterpoint section of the Bedlam Nation conversation where we debate the hot topics in the world of college football. Today, let's talk about the North Division of the Big 12 Conference. Missouri is the unanimous pick to win the division and is ranked number 4 by Sports Illustrated, and it is even on the magazine's cover. Guys, my question today is about Missouri. Do the Tigers have a shot at winning the Big 12 championship, or are they overrated? Jake, what do you say?
Are they number 4? I don't know, but they're definitely a top 10 team. They got a tough game against Texas on the road. They get Illinois in the opener. They can win both those games, and then they're going to get the Big 12 championship in Kansas City, having the experience of played there the week before against Kansas. It's going to be a home crowd for Missouri. Now they're probably going to play Oklahoma, who they lost to twice last year, but can they win the Big 12? No question.
Scott, they still have to get past OU. They still haven't had a long tradition besides last year of winning a lot of games. What do you say, overrated?
Yeah, I really think that they are. Other than Chase Daniel and Jeremy Maclin, there's nobody on that team that really puts a scare into me. Chase Kaufman's a solid tight end, but I think he's about the third best in the conference. I think this is a team that's getting a lot of attention because at the end of last season they climbed to number 1 in the AP poll, but there were a lot of losses and a lot of things that helped springboard them to that position. And then obviously there were the 2 losses to Oklahoma. They're going to have to get past the Sooners if they want to win the Big 12.
With so much lack of tradition for them, is this a flavor of the month sort of situation for where they are in the polls, or are they legit?
I don't think tradition has that big of an impact. Experience does. This team was there last year. They had the experience of being number 1 in the nation, experience of playing in the Big 12 title game, and playing in a bowl game where they smacked Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl. Quarterback's back. Jeremy Maclin's back. They have a lot of experience. They're not going to be fazed by anything. Tradition matters a little bit, but I think it matters in the sense that the teams that haven't been there before sometimes have problems. Missouri's been there before. That's not going to be an issue this year.
Scott, bottom line, can they get past OU? I guess is the big question.
I really don't think that they can. I think that their offense is the kind of offense that Oklahoma really likes to go up against. They feel like they can neutralize a lot of their parts, and I don't really expect them to have the kind of success that they think they can. They talked a lot of trash before that Big 12 title game, and it got them in a lot of trouble.
All right, we'll be right back with the Bedlam Nation conversation, but first another word from Dodge. Finally, prediction time on the Bedlam Nation conversation presented by Dodge. During the season, we'll serve up some scores of the big games this week, a little curveball. Let's talk personnel. Which player on the team you cover will have the best career as a pro? Any player, any position? Who's your pick, Jake Trotter?
That's a tough one because there are a lot of guys I think that have futures in the NFL. I'm going to go with DeMarco Murray, and I think that he could make an impact a different way. I think he could be a stud punt returner in the NFL, a kickoff returner too. He could be kind of a Reggie Bush running back where he gets 10 to 12 carries a game. I think his upside is incredible. He really hasn't played all that much in college. He played, 10 games last year. So he's got a chance to be really special. But then you also look at Jermaine Gresham. He's a tight end that you can flex, which is really important in the NFL. And then obviously Phil Oldholt, Duke Robinson on the offensive line, Austin English at defensive end. So they got a lot of guys that can make an impact in the NFL. But I'm going to go with Murray just based on upside.
Scott, you have maybe fewer guys to choose from, but still some guys who can really make it big in the pros. Who do you pick?
There are a handful of guys that have a chance to be some pretty high draft picks on this team. Russell Okung is a guy that I don't think will get a lot of attention, though he probably deserves it at that left tackle position. Punters aren't drafted all that often, but Matt Fodge is a really talented player and is going to get a chance to play professionally somewhere. But Brandon Pettigrew is the guy that I'm going with. He's got the athletic ability, the hands, the size, and the guy loves to block. He would rather block than catch passes a lot of times. So that's a quality that in a guy with his athletic ability that you don't see a lot. A lot of those guys want to get the ball in their hands and see what they can do, but he loves it all. So that's really gonna turn on the NFL scouts, I think.
One more player I forgot, Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle from the city. He's got a good chance too as well.
Okay, that wraps up this edition of the Bedlam Nation conversation presented by our friends at Dodge. If you want to continue this conversation with fans of OU and OSU, sign up to be a member of BedlamNation.com. And be sure to follow our coverage of OU and OSU sports with the best coverage team in the state at NewsOK.com, NewsOK.tv, and every day in the Oklahoma.